to the warm welcome to the 2023 European Researchers Night session on the future of AI-human relationship, facilitated by the United Aliens. I'm Xinyi, a master's student at KTH Royal Institute of Technology, specializing in information and network engineering. And I'm really honored to be your host. We are here today to explore AI, which is more than just a trendy word. It is a technology changing our world, from our jobs to our laws, even to how we think about the future. It is touching every part of our lives, like how we talk to each other, make choices, or create new things. Understanding AI is crucial in today's world. We are extremely lucky to have some of Europe's top minds here to help us learn more about it. So, are we ready to dive in the world of AI? Let's begin with the welcome address by Anshika Suri, the Deputy Secretary General of Unite, from TU Darmstadt.
Thank you so much, and good morning to all the students who are joining us, and thank you to all the researchers who are taking the time to join our students and help them understand the concepts and the future of AI, human relationships, on the third European Researchers Night that is being hosted by the Unite Alliance. I'm just going to share my screen. There's a small presentation that we've prepared. If you just give me a second. Please let me know if you see a presentation.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So, as I said, I'd like to welcome everyone today for joining us in this third European Researchers Night. We are very excited to have a lot of school students from different countries joining us here. And what I want to give is a very, very short introduction on what Unite Alliance is. So for all the school students who are joining us, I would like to ask if you have ever thought about going to study outside of your home country, maybe in Spain, maybe in Finland, maybe in Portugal, maybe in Germany. If you feel like going abroad, what we have for you in this alliance is essentially the notion of what a European university is. Now, what is a European university? In 2017, there was a quote that was made by the president of France where he said, "I believe we should create European universities, a network of universities across whole Europe with programs that have all their students studying different kinds of classes in at least 2 languages." What these universities will do is that they will also be drivers of educational innovation and the quest for excellence. What does this all mean? I know they sound like Olympic words. So what does this all mean when it comes to the concept of Unite as an alliance or a European University Alliance? Now, Unite is an alliance of 9 universities across 9 different countries in Europe. We have universities from Finland, that is Aalto University, from Sweden, KTH, from Poland, Wrocław Tech, from Germany, TU Darmstadt, from Austria, TU Graz, from France, Grenoble, INP, UGA, from Italy, Politecnico di Torino, from Spain, we have UPC, Barcelona, and finally from Portugal, our partners are University of Lisbon. Now, all these 9 universities collectively have an alliance and they provide different kinds of opportunities for all kinds of students, researchers, staff, and different kinds of academics. Now let's look, what does actually Unite do? What does it do? Well, on a broad scale, what Unite does is that it provides joint teaching, joint research, and student exchange. Now, how does Unite work for everyone in these three categories? And how is it beneficial? When we think about what kinds of benefits Unite can have, for students, it's a new way of studying. You can work online on different kinds of virtual credit courses. You can have different experiences visiting our partners. You can have blended intensive programs where students study partly in virtual cases and partly in presence as well. You get a new European experience. There are lots of interesting courses, not just related to your education, but you can also learn different kinds of languages. You can apply for different seed funds and go for a sporting event as well. When it comes to staff or researchers or academics, you can exchange with different kinds of colleagues. It's also a platform to start something new, different kinds of collaborations, different kinds of consortiums. For all universities, it's learning new ways of teaching. And finally, it's also sharing of resources and services. What this alliance provides on a European level is that it's educating an entirely new generation of Europeans and providing avenues for innovation for industry and society. Now, how does cooperation across so many borders work? Well, we have different ways in which the alliance works. We have a learning management system called the Meta Campus. It combines all different kinds of learning management systems from all the 9 universities. So students from all 9 countries can log into this digital campus and access different kinds of courses on languages, on virtual credit exchanges, on micro-credentials as well. For researchers, we have an open platform called the Unite Agora, where all the infrastructure services are shared amongst all the 9 universities about different opportunities, different labs that they may be able to use. We have a lot of events that happen. We've just had the 8th Unite Dialogue take place in Wrocław, and the next upcoming dialogue will be in February 2024. We had over 300 participants and a lot of students who joined us there. And lastly, we also have a lot of hybrid meetings where everyone works virtually together and then within their own institution. So what I'd like to do is now invite, if you're interested in learning more about Unite, we are available on a lot of different platforms for all of you students to go and check out what this alliance is about. You can find this on our website. You can also send us an email with any inquiries. You can follow us on Instagram. We had a student festival recently, and all the students posted a lot of Instagram stories, a lot of Instagram posts of different kinds of projects and collaborations they came up with, but also the fun that they had. We also are on Twitter, where we regularly share updates from the EU as well. And finally on LinkedIn, where we also share different opportunities and offers for all of our researchers. So I'd like to thank the organizers, and I look forward to a very fruitful webinar today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the heartfelt welcome, Ms. Yuri. Today we're indeed fortunate to have with us today scholars from 7 different European nations, a reflection of the rich diversity and the pioneering work in the field of AI across Europe. Let's welcome our esteemed guests. From France, we welcome Professor Ruth of the Grenoble Institute of Technology. From Finland, we have Professor Kauppinen of Aalto University of Helsinki. Hailing from Italy, Professor Tommasi is with us from the Politecnico University of Turin. From Sweden and the KTH Ruhr Institute of Technology, we have Professor Jansson. A quick note is that Professor Jansson will join us exclusively during his allocated presentation time due to a prior engagement. Joining us from Portugal is Professor Seabra from the University of Lisbon. And from Spain, Catalonia, we are joined by Professor Esteban of the Politecnico University of Catalonia. Dear esteemed professors, while we eagerly anticipate your valuable insights, we kindly request that presentation be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes. This is to ensure that we allocate ample time for our students to engage and raise questions. For your convenience, I will offer a gentle reminder at the 8-minute mark. We truly appreciate your understanding and cooperation. Kicking off our research presentations, first, we have Professor Ruth to explore the intriguing relationship between humans, chatbots, and the social robots. Professor Ruth, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. I'm going to share my screen and open up my presentation. I'd like you to tell me if you can see my presentation properly.
Yes, sure.
Great, thank you so much. Well, my name is Dakota Root, and I'm a postdoctoral researcher at Universidade Grenoble in France, within the chair Ethics and AI. Being a postdoctoral researcher means that I write articles and I do research on a particular topic. So in this case, I study human interactions with artificial intelligence systems. In particular, I ask questions like, how do our interactions with ChatGPT change the writing process? And in what ways will artificial intelligence systems impact human working experiences? Today, I'm going to talk about relationships with chatbots and social robots. All right, let's get started. So here on the screen, you see a few examples of artificial intelligence systems that we might interact with on a regular basis. So for example, there's Apple's iPhone, where you might interact with Siri. You see an example of a therapeutic steel robot called Paro, who's capable of responding to touch and making certain noises during interactions. And you see examples of a possible interaction with a chatbot. You might have interactions with a chatbot, for example, when you're buying a product online and there's a helpful chatbot to ask questions about the product. These are just a few examples that show what kind of interactions are possible with these technologies. In this presentation, I'm going to talk about some philosophical concepts, but I want you to always reflect back on your own interactions with real technologies, and that's going to be the basis of the questions you ask. Okay, so what are social robots? Social robots are specifically designed for interaction with humans. They process visual, auditory, and tactile data. What does that mean? Well, it means that a social robot in a space is going to process data related to the table in front of it. It's going to process the data related to maybe sounds in the room. And it might be able to process tactile data when it touches objects. There's a spectrum of interactivity. So, for example, robotic pets are at one end of the spectrum. They evoke petting and hugs, they make noise, but the interaction is more minimal. On the other end of the spectrum, humanoid robots may look and behave like people, and they evoke communication and eye contact. Chatbots are artificial intelligence systems capable of communicative exchange with humans through text or speech. So they're a conversational interface with goal-oriented or non-purposeful interactions. Virtual assistants are a subgenre of chatbots. So imagine the difference between talking to Apple's Siri, which is a virtual assistant, and just talking to a chatbot on, for example, the website of a train company. Chatbots are useful for information retrieval, care delivery, administrative tasks, and they can even be companions. What are some differences between social robots and chatbots? Well, a really important one is that social robots have a machine body. That means that they're made of physical parts. Those physical parts may be capable of movement. And that means they might be able to interact with the environment. For example, a lot of you have probably seen videos of robots that can pick up things or hold things. In comparison, chatbots are an interface. So that may include an avatar. So when you talk to the chatbot, it may be more than just seeing the interface. You may see a virtual figure. And you may be able to interact in a virtual world. But a chatbot is always different than a social robot in the sense that the chatbot remains in a virtual space on the computer within the interface and not a physical machine body. What are some important features for interaction here? Well, I'm going to talk about two features: communication and appearance. These are both really central to the kind of experiences we have with social robots and chatbots. Social robots and chatbots can now communicate with users, and that communication happens through certain machine learning techniques. So I'm going to mention two concepts that we're not going to go into detail, but when we talk about communication with artificial intelligence systems, we're referencing natural language processing and natural language generation. Don't worry, you don't have to remember a lot about that. What's important is that these NLP and NLG lead to increasingly transparent and realistic conversations with chatbots and social robots. I want to remind you of the kind of technologies that reflect these communication capabilities. Most of us have used ChatGPT. Some of you may have used a companion chatbot like Replica. A lot of us have interacted with a virtual assistant like Apple Siri or Amazon Alexa, and maybe you've seen some videos of a humanoid robot like Hansen's Robotics Sophia. These are just a few of the technologies that now can communicate with people. Okay, another very important feature for interaction is the way that a social robot or chatbot looks. So, for example, the shape of the machine body, eye contact, and facial expression. Think how important being able to see certain gestures is, and even although it's not technically appearance in the physical, in the terms of what we see, for the overall appearance of the robot in our experience, voice is really important. And designers think about all of those things when they design social robots and chatbots. So with an avatar, you have some of the same features: a virtual body, virtual facial expressions, virtual gestures, and there may be a generated voice. These features are really important, and I want you to keep them in mind. How important is it to be able to talk to a technology? How important is the way the technology looks to you for your interaction? All right, now that we have a background in what social robots are, what chatbots are, and some of the interactive features, I want to talk about an actual case study. Let's make this really practical. We're going to talk about Replica. Replica is a company that makes AI companion chatbots, or rather, it provides the technology where users can generate their companion chatbot. So users choose the virtual avatar's physical appearance, and then they can even shape the chatbot's personality. So they see a photo of their friend, or they might term this chatbot as their boyfriend or even their wife. I know that might sound surprising, but we're talking about new kinds of relationships here. So users read messages that come from their chatbots, and they look at photos that their chatbots send. They may even get voice messages generated by the chatbot. Many Replica users consider the chatbot to be a real partner, and that's a big change. We don't see that kind of relationship with other technologies. So what's happening here?
Please interrupt, but 2 minutes left. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. We're looking at the way that users anthropomorphize chatbots and social robots. That means they attribute human qualities to the technology. And a lot of this comes from communication. If the chatbot or social robot can respond to our words and acknowledge the significance of our conversation, then we do the same for them. This implicates our call to speak with other humans. We acknowledge the chatbot or social robot as a communicative subject in our engagement and attribute social presence to them. Some people actually feel that they're in an intimate relationship. And how does this come to be? Well, chatbots and social robots are constantly present, constantly available 24/7. The kind of intimacy that people feel is based on users' needs and interests, yes, so it's one-sided. Only the user is feeling things and experiencing things. But at the same time, they have the sense that the chatbot or social robot is always there for them, empathetic, listening, interested. This means they may perceive them as intimate friends and companions. So I'm arguing that we see a new understanding of relationships here. And a relationship emerges when, instead of communicating through a technology, we communicate with a technology. This is the difference between talking to a replica chatbot and using Facebook Messenger to talk to a friend. So here the relationship is between the human and the chatbot and the social robot. And this implicates the sense of betweenness we have with other humans, the way that we're social, the way that we talk together, the kind of ties we have with others. So my key arguments have been: communication and appearance are really important for interaction. Human-like features and speech lead to users attributing human attributes to chatbots and robots, the feeling of intimacy in relations with chatbots and social robots, and a new form of user-centered relationship. Some users think of chatbots and social robots as friends and romantic partners. So I want to leave you with a few questions. Could you imagine falling in love with a social robot or chatbot? Why or why not? Is appearance or communication more important in interactions? And what makes an interaction with a chatbot or social robot feel real or not to you? Thanks so much for your time, and I'm really looking forward to our discussion.
Thank you so much. Our sincere gratitude to Professor Ruth for the enlightening discourse.